I guess, KPIs that I'm focusing on, like, hey, am I posting on my feed 2 to 3 times per week? And am I posting on my stories 4 to 5 times per week? Those typically are the numbers that I'm doing at the moment.
Hey Tristan, welcome back.
This month, let's make it super easy. Started doing what we're doing.
So what I heard was you've made Instagram your cornerstone, which is something that we teach is pick a platform, make it your cornerstone, own that platform. And did you choose Instagram or did Instagram choose you? And by that I mean, did you make Instagram your cornerstone because you gained the most traction there? Or did you know from day one, I'm going to make Instagram my cornerstone?
Yeah, good question. I think Instagram felt very comfortable to me. It was a platform that I was using quite a bit for drop shipping and for e-commerce. I was using Facebook as well, but I noticed that I had more of an opportunity for organic direct leads on Instagram, specifically because of some of the features, because there are, communities that are created on Instagram. I'm able to have conversations with them in the DMs. I'm able to be not just on the feeds of the people who follow me, but also have the potential for the explore page or the discoverability aspect of it. The search engine optimization, I felt like as a entire platform, Instagram was bite-sized enough that I could create content in a very scalable and tangible manner. Like YouTube, that content is, it's long format. It takes a lot more to prepare for that. I feel like Instagram's small enough that I can just do it. But it's robust enough that I have all of these other features where I can connect with people, have conversations, and in turn, convert more of my followers into clients.
I love that. So it kind of sounds to me like it was a little bit of both. But the reason I asked that question is because I want people to understand and know that, like you said, the riches are in the niches, and every social media coach says you need to find your niche. But my response to that is they're right, but they're wrong, because it's not us as the creator who gets to choose our niche. And so we as a real estate community typically say, well, I want to be known as the real estate agent, blah, 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 the influencer, or the authority. And oftentimes it doesn't work for them because audiences are not going to social for real estate. They're going there for other reasons. And so you just have to go to these platforms, post, create your pillars of content, whatever it is, and throw shit up against a wall, the way I describe it, and see what sticks. And that's exactly what Maria's done here. Now, she has been fortunate enough, but also she's good enough at it to where she's made real estate her niche. And Instagram said, her audience said, give it to us and give us more. And it's proved itself with the results, the 20,000 followers, now 70% of your business. And so I wanted to point that out to people because I don't want everyone to listen to somebody like you, Marie, and be like, oh, okay, I got to run to Instagram. It's not, this is not one size fits all. Some of you might find that success on Facebook. I found it on TikTok. 43,000 followers around a geographic area. I just got lucky. I'm executing, but it's a lot of luck, right? And so I wanted to point that out. So Instagram's your jam, and then you're multi-purposing to other places. I want to get deeper on the content strategy, but first I had one question. Facebook is your number 2. Are we talking about, do you have a Facebook group? Is it your personal profile? Is it a page? What is it?
Yeah, so my I think approach mostly follows Facebook groups and just being a asset in these groups, providing good, solid recommendations, getting people connected, being a connector. I do not run a Facebook group at this point in time, but occasionally I will do some challenges or things like that. Like I was doing a owner boot camp that was people were finding on Instagram, but I was actually hosting the community in Facebook and using that Facebook group to provide more value and give a more targeted approach. But Facebook groups, other people's Facebook groups have been my jam at this point in time. So that's been my focus.
So you're cross posting to your personal profile, correct?
Correct.
but you're infiltrating other groups that are probably geographically targeted, and that is also paying off for you.
Yeah. I was joining a lot of local like women's groups, a lot of local entrepreneur groups and networking groups. And anytime people needed something, I tried to provide value first before, hey, I'm a real estate agent. If you know anybody looking to buy or sell, hey, I'd love to work with them. For example, I was in a Facebook group and I had just downloaded a freebie. I downloaded a guide, like a homeowner's guide. And in this group, I was like, hey guys, I just finalized my free homeowner manual. Does anybody want one? And on that one post, I got over 100 comments. So then I'd have a conversation with them in the DMs. Hey, what's your email? So that way I can get ready to send this to you. But because I was offering something for free, I had all these people that were ready to have conversations. And that, you know, was that they were part of my community. They were part of my atmosphere, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but
we'll
that's where we're at.
That's what we'll go with.
Okay.
That's a new one.
All right.
You know what? I invent words all the time, so we're gonna invent meanings to words. So I'll go with it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I love that. So now let's go back to really again where the rubber meets the road for you, which is Instagram. And so let's talk about your content strategies. First of all, do you have a certain cadence of how often you want to post?
Sure. I have gone with every method in the book. I've done multiple times a day, every day, twice a week. At this point in time, I'm aiming for 2 to 3 posts per week, like on my feed. So that's either reels or carousel posts or static posts. And I am aiming to be on stories 4 to 5 times per week, where I'm popping up at the top of somebody's feed. And usually that is me showing a behind the scenes or something personal or asking questions to just drive engagement. So those are the 2, I guess, KPIs that I'm focusing on. Like, hey, am I posting on my feed 2 to 3 times per week? And am I posting on my stories 4 to 5 times per week? Those typically are the numbers that I'm doing at the moment.
That's awesome. And I say that because, you know, this, again, social is not one size fits all. And so Marie, when I teach this and I talk about it, I always share my content strategy, which is much more robust. It's at least a reel a day, at least one a day, and 5 to 7 stories per day. And so, but I know when I say that, that becomes immediately overwhelming for at most. And I say that because you're executing at a very high level and you have a completely different strategy and it's much more attainable, although way advanced from a novice, because 2 to 3 per week is not crazy, and 4 to 5 stories per week, not crazy. You're not even posting your stories every single day. In fact, I'll challenge you as a social media strategist practitioner to say, you should be posting to your story every day because you want that bubble always at the top because it's a digital billboard. Right. You always want it there. But I love that you essentially proved me wrong and said, I don't have to. It's still driving my business. I love that. So, okay, now as we talk about that cadence and you're doing a combination. So if I'm looking at your feed, which I am, in fact, I'm gonna share my screen. So for anybody who actually is watching this, not many are, but if anybody is, most are listening, you can kind of follow along here. So let me pull you out here. So if you're looking at, so first of all, Move Me to Tennessee. You can find her that way. You could type in Marie Lee, Nashville Realtor. You'll find her that way. But as you can see here, 20,500 followers and almost 1,000 posts. She's clearly very consistent, been doing this for a while. And I'm looking at her just general feed. And on your general feed, we're going to see both your carousels and your static posts and your reels. So do you, as I'm looking at this, like these are your pinned posts at the top, and then everything else kind of falls below. You've got static, you've got reel, you've got reel. So just looking at this, reels seem to be your priority. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah. And they're just my priority at this point in time, because for me, I think Reels can be really easy to create if you're recording everything. So for a lot of these reels, I have recorded what I would consider to be B-roll footage, where I am showing a home, where I'm showing the behind the scenes of the work that I'm doing, or I'm showing myself working. And I have used or gotten all these clips, and then when I think of an idea, I just put them all together, so I don't have to get ready and be presentable on camera all the time. If I'm going to be doing a talking head video, and like I'm doing the whole get ready thing, or I'm being intentional with that commentary, because I have found, like, if I don't get ready and I show up on video, my engagement tanks. Okay, so like if I'm not looking somewhat presentable, people are not paying attention. So I'm like, let me get some videos of when I am like put together, so that way when I don't feel like getting ready, I can just use these. And if I'm doing a talking head video, which I'm shooting probably once to twice, or once every week, then I'll get ready for that. But for the most part, the majority of this footage is all footage that I had gotten from another point in time, and I decided to just kind of combine it together for a reel when I had the inspiration.
I love that. So to stay in that vein, who is doing your editing?
Me. So I don't have anything currently outsourced. I'm using either Canva for carousel posts, or I am just using the Instagram app and the Instagram text features. Like this post right here, this is a carousel post. I did this on Canva. And then outside of that, I might use Twitter for maybe a carousel post or a reel where I'm highlighting a quote. But for the most part, I'm doing everything and I'm not paying money for it. So
what kind of editor are you using?
I'm using for reels, I'm using the Instagram editing app, and I have not played around with CapCut or Splice or any of that, but it's pretty much all in app. And I am, just using the same fonts, tools, and editing features that are available there.
I love it. And obviously it's very apparent. So if you're looking at her page, you go stalk. If you're, on the treadmill or driving or something, go, you're going to go follow her, and you should, but you're going to notice a consistency. And I imagine that that's a part of your strategy. In other words, that you use this brown color. You're using the brown color for your text within your videos, but then on Canva, it's a similar color. Is that was clearly planned, and that was intentional, correct?
So, on Canva, I had selected a color that I was like, oh, I'm a pretty neutral gal, so let me just use this brown. And then I picked a couple of other colors that I felt like would potentially be good accents. But when I am on the Instagram editing app, I just chose, hey, I'm going to use this color text every single time, or the inverse of it. So I try to maintain some consistency throughout the feed. So a lot of times when people are looking at my content, it is, brown and cream. And if they don't know who I am, just seeing the colors pop up, I feel like is a good brand indicator, oh, hey, that's Marie, or that's Move Me to Tennessee.
It reminds them of you. Yeah, that's critical. I mean, and you've done a great job of it, because it defines you, right? I think that's absolutely fantastic. Like me with hats, and I've always had to explain this over the years. It's not because I have an affinity for hats. It was actually my dermatologist who said start wearing hats, and then I just decided to make it my brand. And then you become known for something, and I love that. And I think it's important, because you don't have the feed that, you've seen other people, other social influencers that have these feeds that are so well put together and organized. And it's each post it's okay, real, then static, then real, then static. And it's you're not that anal. You're just getting it out there, right? But you are maintaining some level of consistency, which makes the aesthetic attractive. So when I fall on your page, I'm more likely to stick with it, basically.
Yeah.
Now I noticed one thumbnail here. Otherwise, it doesn't look like you're basically choosing video thumbnails, which is fine. Why did you choose to put a thumbnail on this one?
Yeah, so that was an outside collaboration post, and Joe runs a YouTube channel and he has an outside editor. So, got to kind of try out some new things there.
Cool.
And I feel like I've been trying to do some collaborations more and more, maybe around one a month. So that's either me collabing with somebody else in a live or hopping on a collab. So that's where that came into play.
Great question. Brings up a great point. So how often do you go live?
Yeah. At the beginning of the year, I was trying to go live once a week. I felt like that would be great. But then I just kind of got a little too busy. But I feel like going live is a really great opportunity for you to share your insight, to connect with your audience, and to provide some value. So I personally would like to go live at least once a month. And that's either going to be me on the live, just having a one-on-one with the community that's there, or I am doing a collab maybe with some other people, kind of talking about different markets or talking about different industries. So like the mortgage world, the title world, the new construction world, etc.
Get it. So while I still have this page pulled up too, I want to point out, and we talk about how to set up your bio. And again, if you've listened to Tristan or I talk about this, you know that, your bio is like SEO. It serves a couple of purposes. The keywords that you put into the bio helps the algorithm figure out who you are and who to show your content to, but also when somebody stalks you, because that's what happens. Like somebody's scrolling Instagram, they're scrolling Reels, they see Marie and they're like, oh, that was cool. And they click on her bubble and they go check her out. And what's the first thing they're going to see? It's your picture and your bio. And so as you're speaking to a real estate audience or somebody who says, man, I want to be just like Marie, what tips would you give somebody for what little characters that they have here for their bio?
Yeah, make sure that you are talking about your area. So that's in my tagline, like my name, right? So people know where I'm at. That's a huge function for SEO. If people type in Nashville Realtor, I'm going to be one of the top accounts to pop up because of that. The second thing is like, who are you helping? So identifying who you're focused on helping out with. So like I'm talking about using home tips and giving market updates. Well, I'm not coming out directly and saying, hey, I'm here for first-time home buyers or relocation clients, but this is content that first-time home buyers and relocation clients are going to want to see. And then I'm giving them some incentive like, hey, let's connect, or let's maybe if you're not ready to connect right now, like let's give you some value so that way we have a little bit more of a relationship here. So I'm directing them to go to the link in my bio to either download some freebies or have a one-on-one consult so they know what next steps look like for them.
So this is links, it looks like. I don't know links. I know Linktree, I know Beacons, I use Instacard. So explain what that is to our audience, maybe to those that aren't necessarily watching, but why it's so important to have something like this and not, and I'm going to ask this two parts. So that's the first part of the question. The second part is the initial thought for most real estate professionals is, well, I'm going to put my real estate website as my link. So first of all, describe kind of what you have here and why it's important versus having your direct link to your real estate website.
This is, in my opinion, the most undervalued piece of real estate on your page. And this is where the conversions come in. So your content is important, your bio and your brand is important, but if people don't have a way to connect with you and people don't have a way to stay informed, you are not going to convert your followers into clients. So I'm using Links, LIINKS.co. Links is a free tool to use, just like Linktree, just like Beacons and Milkshake, all of those. Personally, I just like the aesthetic of Links. and I am using a free account. So on this particular page, I have my name, I have who I am. So it's like Nashville real estate agent, relocation specialist. But then right underneath all of that, I have every form of contact that people need. So I get direct emails, direct calls, Facebook follows, website hits, all on that very top row. And then after that, I have some very key and deliberate buttons that people can push. The first one is a work with me call. So I just give people an opportunity to schedule a 15-minute one-on-one conversation. And that's usually where I dive in and just find out what next steps might look like for somebody. If somebody's exploring the Nashville area, if somebody is thinking about becoming a homeowner, I'm always directing them to the link in my bio, and I'm always directing them to sign up for a time to chat. And that's giving me all of their contact information so I can stay in contact with them. The second is a link to my monthly email. So I do a monthly email called the Nashville Hot Take, and that's where I am talking about the Nashville market. I am talking about what's happening in housing, like I would say pretty general housing description, like what's going on across the country. But then I dive down specifically into like Nashville's numbers, Nashville's trends. I'm talking about what's going on like locally, and then I'm kind of giving some personal stuff so people can see some like behind the scenes things of what's going on in my life. So that's a way for me to stay top of mind. Once a month, they get this email to their mailbox. And then the third option is for somebody who's looking to download a free home buying guide. I had mentioned I'm actually a part of the Coffee and Contracts community, and I used one of their home buying guides, created a landing page, and people are signing up for it, getting pushed this manual, getting pushed this guide, this freebie, as soon as they are giving me their email and their name. So they're going into an email list that I have for them. And then everything else under that, I would say, is optional, but I think having your contact information, a way for people to stay in touch long-term, like if they don't want to follow you, but they want to stay abreast of what's going on. But then that third piece, like, hey, what's a piece of value that you can provide somebody, so that way they kind of have an established relationship.
I love it. And to add to this, so first of all, go check this out. So if when you follow her, Move Me to Tennessee, you're going to see the links there. You're going to click on it. You're going to go check this out, because everybody needs to have one of these. And there's two things I will say to that, Marie. Number one, if you have a real estate website on your Instagram page, to me, that screams, I'm going to sell you something and I'm essentially a spammer. Nobody wants that. So it's going to turn people off. Number two, this is a one-stop shop. Like, she just described everything here that's extremely important to her business. And now it gives people the opportunity to go down that rabbit hole. The longer they spend on Marie's stuff, the more she is becoming sticky to her consumers and to her followers. It's incredibly important. And you can do more than just what she's done here. You could add links to your TikTok, to your Facebook, to your YouTube, to your LinkedIn. If you own Airbnbs, put links to your Airbnb there. If you are doing collabs and selling products, you could put links to those products. Like, sky's the limit. Like, you can do anything here. And clearly you're well thought out, and you're an inspiration. And I think a lot of people are going to totally emulate what you're doing, because your style is awesome. And the way you're describing what you're doing here is attainable. Like I said, I know when I teach this stuff, I know that I'm like, okay, you're psycho. And that's probably putting it nicely. I love what you're doing, because not only is it working, you're doing it not at some obnoxious rate that is not duplicatable. Like what you're doing here, if anything, I'm going to challenge Marie to do more. And I know she knows that. Like, over time, I think she's going to evolve, and she's going to scale, and maybe hire people or partner with people to help her scale and do more, because she's going to be a $50 million producer in the coming years. And you know that. You're going to grow to that level, because what you're doing is really, really awesome in a short amount of time.